Okay, we're live. Hey, episode 165. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 165 of Security on the In30 Network. Again, I'm Chaim Cohen, and we have Tom here, but we're just going to go right into it. This is probably our last episode before Thanksgiving. You should get it right before then, and then we're obviously going to take the following week off, which is Thanksgiving. Have turkey, have all the good stuff, be with family. But I want to just start off today with a bunch of comments we got in the WhatsApp group. Why don't we move to Signal? Signal released their desktop app. It's apparently awesome, which it's not. And we should move over to Signal and everything else. We are a security podcast, all this. So Tom and I, basically, we've said, look, if more people want to do it, we'll do it. But I don't think it's ready for prime time. And then Tom and a few of us tested it, and we found out, nope, it's definitely not ready for prime time.
Yeah, so we tested it, and it's just got like a couple little features are missing. Replies are a big one. We use those pretty heavily in the group. Not having names associated with people. So in WhatsApp, you can set your name as whatever you want. So I set mine as Tom. If you don't have me in your address book, but you got added to the group, under my messages or next to my messages, you will see Tom. So that helps alleviate confusion. Otherwise, you have to add everyone to your contacts and give everyone a name. It just makes the onboarding and adding new people to the group really, really difficult. On top of that, WhatsApp's ability to allow you to click on a link to get right to it is just great. It's easy. It's quick. I see no issue whatsoever with that. But yeah.
I mean, look, we understand the implication of, hey, why are you using WhatsApp? And we keep on going back to, well, yes, we should be on Signal, but to get people to download Signal that are just getting started in security is a little tough because how to negotiate the keys. Like Signal is dead simple, but I've always had problems with reinstalling phones. If you don't install Signal correctly, then you're like, it's hard to get messages, keys change, and you don't see anything. All these problems pop up. And like we said, Signal is for like 100% security. And here we are with WhatsApp. The messages are encrypted. The majority of people have WhatsApp, or at least we're telling them, here's a full-featured messaging application. Use it, but again, know that the messages are encrypted. You can choose whatever name you want. And here's the thing. We're talking security topics. We're not talking about deep-seated issues that we shouldn't be talking about. We're talking about just security topics that are coming up. We're not that worried of people spying in on us because we don't even know who's in the group.
Yeah, it's for all intents and purposes, it's a public group. It is, as public as you can be without being fully open. Anyone can watch this chat. So. Yeah, the encryption features and the security features are a really nice bonus for the group, but they're not really the purpose of the group, right? Because we don't interview or interrogate people before we add them. They say, hey, I listened to your show. I would like to be added. And then we add them. Could they be a super secret spy looking to take all of our secrets? Yes, absolutely. But you probably shouldn't be posting random secrets to people on the internet anyway.
I mean, I do small verification. If you have a Twitter account that's an egg with 3 followers and you haven't tweeted for a year, I do ask you, hey, what's going on? But if you're just, you tweet at me with a picture and you tweet regularly and whatever it is, and I mean, look, I hate to say it, but if you speak English, because we are an English group, you get thrown right in. I don't know your credentials. I don't know who you are. But we're not talking, like you said, trade secrets. We're posting security links. If you do, however, post Bitcoin scams, we do kick you out immediately. But
yes, we do.
But again, we do a little bit of vetting. But other than that, I mean, you want to join our group? Ask us, and we'll let you in. And again, people are saying, well, you should be using Signal. Yes, we got it. We understand the implication of this, but most people have WhatsApp. If they don't, we're giving them an app that they can actually use. And if they want to move over to Signal, then they can take the next step. But to tell a new person who doesn't have that support system to go to Signal is a little tough on the beginning.
Yeah, and WhatsApp's web app is fantastic. It is great. It works for me. Yes, it does tether back to your phone, so the messages are really sent through your phone and not through a real, web app that's doing everything on its own. But to me, that's kind of a benefit. Really, it's the proper security model for WhatsApp, and I agree with it. Signal's desktop app, while it's nice that it does generate keys, right? You can create a Signal account with your phone. You can throw away the phone as long as you've got the desktop app, and you can still talk to people. That's really nice. It's a really cool feature. But the desktop app on Signal, I'm glad they have one, but it's rough. It's in real rough shape. It works. It does what it sets out to do, but it doesn't do anything else, right? It doesn't emulate the mobile experience at all. It'll get better. I don't want to rag on Signal too much because they don't have the funding of Facebook behind them, right? They don't have a billion users. They're a scrappy little, for all intents and purposes, security startup that thrive on grants and donations. So it's understandable that the user experience wouldn't be as good, but that's also why we use WhatsApp.
Now, let me ask you this. The way WhatsApp connects to your desktop, could Signal do it with the same security? Is there some sort of leakage between the internet, your desktop, and your phone that they're trying to prevent?
Possibly. So the WhatsApp, the link that WhatsApp is using is HTTPS, right? So that's not really the risk. The risk is that you are loading completely unsigned, unviewed JavaScript, and you are trusting WhatsApp to do the right thing in their application. With a web app, you get whatever the server gives you, right? So if some government organization goes to WhatsApp and says, hey, look, we're going to totally shut down Facebook, the whole company, we're going to shut it down unless you put this spyware on the back end of your web app and serve people this JavaScript that captures all their keystrokes and sends them directly to the government, right? And if they do that, there's not really a way we could detect it, right? So somebody could take the JavaScript, deobfuscate it, run through the code, make sure it's all functioning correctly, and I'm sure there are people out there that do that. The issue is you're not doing it on every run, right? The government could say, hey, for these IP addresses or for this user, serve up this JavaScript, right? They could narrow cast their surveillance net, and that could totally work. So that's the risk that Signal is trying to avoid by doing a desktop application. Now, could you do the same thing by compromising a desktop application for a certain number of users or backdooring it for everyone? Yes, absolutely. At the end of the day, it all comes down to who you trust. Do you trust Signal? Do you trust WhatsApp? Do you trust your ISP? Do you trust the people issuing the HTTPS certificates? There's a lot of trust inherent in these systems.
So, I mean, like you said in the beginning, I think the WhatsApp method of communication is the best I've seen. I'm on a Chromebook all day. And so I can't just install things. Signal had their Chrome app, which worked, but it was a Chrome app. And the problem is you go somewhere, you don't necessarily want to install different things. And most of us use you talk in the group during the day while we're at work, while we have a gigantic keyboard and monitor and mouse. And to talk about all these security topics on a phone is difficult, at least for us. So that's another reason why we want some sort of desktop app client and everything else. And like you said, it's nice to see who the names are and to post links with link previews. And we spoke about the security issues potentially with that. But at the end of the day, we're posting links talking about security, and we should be on Signal, but it just makes so much sense right now to be on WhatsApp. And if something better comes, we're willing to move to it. But this question pops up all the time, and we tried it. It just didn't work well.
Yeah, Signal is getting better all the time, and we could very well move to it sometime in the future. So we did what any good group of nerds would do, and we ran an experiment. So I created an N30 group chat on Signal. I invited some people to it, and we all played around with it for 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we all came to the same conclusion. This just isn't ready for us. WhatsApp is a better fit for usability. So that's what we're going to stick with.
So again, We're always willing to try new things, but again, it's you want to the WhatsApp group, you want to talk about this more, follow us on, send us a message on Twitter, and we will get you in. And that's the other thing. Getting someone into Signal is much harder than sending them the WhatsApp link and saying, here you go.
Yeah. We have to ask you for your phone number, then add you to the contacts, and then sync those contacts, and then invite you to the group.
So yeah, we don't mind doing it, but again, it's not really that helpful for what we do. So anyway, so that was WhatsApp that happened this week. The next thing we want to talk about, and this is not necessarily security related for the rest of the show, but I have a young child who watches YouTube Kids, and there was a Medium post, I don't know, sometime last week, talking about how companies and bad actors are compromising these videos. Basically, what they're doing is they're taking your favorite shows from your kids' favorite shows and putting in really adult themes or just gratuitous violence or whatever it is. The problem is you would see a 20-minute video. A parent is not necessarily watching the first few minutes, watching the whole thing. I don't watch every single video my son watches, but I do look at what he's watching, but I don't go to minute 15 and say, I wonder if this is appropriate. I watch the first few minutes, I watch the last few minutes, and I call it a day. And what's going on is that they're algorithmically generating a whole bunch of nonsense, and they're generating videos with violence in it or really adult themes in a way to like poison YouTube Kids, I guess, to get clicks. I don't know why. Maybe it's a hack. I don't know what it is, but at the end of the day, if you're hearing about this now, YouTube has already addressed this and is updating it.
Yeah. So this is a general issue with super popular websites that rely on user-generated content, right? There's almost no way to police all of it. Places like image hosts, right, where they have a really like easy bar, right? If it's nudity, we're gonna ban it. There's some programs you can run. There's actual, image processing you can run to try to detect that. Now, it's not 100% accurate. It's pretty accurate, and you can do a lot of cleanup in an automated way. The issue comes in when you reach a crazy level of scale, and especially video is going to be extremely hard to process compared to just still images. I read a statistic somewhere that in 2017, it was like 300 hours of content is uploaded to YouTube every single minute. That's a lot of video. That's, I mean, obviously more video than you can watch, but even more video than can be readily processed all the time. I think, unless, YouTube's huge, right? They could be processing 300 hours of video per minute. That would be insane. But it's a really hard problem to solve, and it's an easy way to game the system to get the next slot on a related video, especially if you know what kids are going to be searching for. If you do that research.
So I have a son. He watches YouTube videos exclusively, and they share. So every week or so, he gets a different set of characters. So whether it be Peppa Pig or Thomas videos, and what a lot of these videos are is they're not copyrighted content, but people creating their own stories. So my son watches a lot of people narrating Thomas trains on live action tracks and maybe throwing in a few minions to help out or whatever it is. The problem arises that minute 20, whatever, or 15, you may see a video that's doing something like the train trying to run over the female who's tied up by the criminal. That is not appropriate for a preschooler. And this is going on. And it's not, I don't want to say it's created by bad actors trying to game the system. My question is, what are they trying to gain? Because they're not gaining money from clicks. I guess they're generating views. Somebody said they're poisoning the older kids with political propaganda. Again, I don't know what the gain is.
I think that's a kind of a far stretch. If I had to guess anything, I think it's really simple, right? I think it's clicks, and I think if they get all of the related content to be their videos, they're going to get more views, more eyeballs, is more advertisements, or more YouTube Red money. and they're going to get paid more, right? And I mean, just as well as I do, if you sit a kid on YouTube, 16 hours could go by in an instant,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like they will watch anything and literally everything that you put in front of them and just watch the whole thing. And 16 hours of YouTube content, if it's on your channel, that's a decent chunk of revenue.
That's true.
Times however many kids.
Like one of my, there's a YouTube video where this guy goes through every Thomas train he has. It's 11 minutes long. It's been viewed at least 28 million times because my son will watch it 5, 6, 7 times a day. And he did that for a good few weeks. Again, the moral of the story is whatever happens, you're setting a kid on the internet where there's, like you said, so much content, you need to police it. And I'm not saying watch the videos with the kids. I'm just saying every once in a while, once a day, once a week, whatever you feel comfortable with, go through and be like, what are you watching? Because you don't know. They're not going to come in. My son's not going to come and tell me and say, what, there's bad videos on there. Hopefully he's smart enough not to watch it again, but like you said,
they might not know, what entails a bad video, especially if it doesn't have any, graphic content. So yeah, YouTube has solved this problem, at least for the algorithmically generated videos. I really think, though, the true solution for YouTube Kids is to get your channel whitelisted, right? So YouTube Kids needs to lock down YouTube Kids, the app, to verified curated channels, right? So they get like official Thomas the Tank Engine, they get like official Peppa Pig, they get like all these official name brands to be on YouTube Kids. And then if you want to sign up, you can, but there's a rigorous vetting period where a human at YouTube sits down and goes through all the videos and watches everything. And then when you post a video, there's, a delay of however long it takes them to view the video and give it the green light, right? And if you get too many, strikes on your account that says, hey, this isn't really child appropriate, they kick you off YouTube Kids completely. I think that is the ultimate solution to this problem.
And I think they have that because I had to go through I had to click when we created this channel that says, are you going to share illegal? They gave me a quiz, basically like a copyright quiz, and said, is this allowed? Is this allowed? And after that, I was approved. I mean, it was really, really simple. It wasn't hard at all. But if you get a copyright claim, then they take that verification away. So instead of it posting immediately, it takes a day, then maybe 2 days, and then they punish you if you violate copyright or you do something bad. So they clearly know how to do this. They should do it with the kids and move on. And I like your idea of verification, but then we lead into like the Twitter verification issues where they're verifying all the wrong people. But
yeah, and I mean, let's be honest, that manual human verification does not scale. It does not scale to 24 hours of video per minute, like it was, several years ago. I don't think it even scales to an hour of video per minute. Humans are expensive. Their time is expensive. And, reviewing all this stuff, people are going to get bored. People are going to zone out. You're going to miss something. Humans are fallible. I'd like to see an automated system flag this stuff, but it's a really hard problem to do. I think in the meantime, cutting down on the amount of content in YouTube Kids to a very small subset of verified channels would do a whole lot to build people's trust back up.
Look, I went through and I did see one of these videos that was offline, but other than that, my son is still watching it, and I think it's just good parenting to go talk about what you see and what you're doing, and that's like literally as a parent, your job. It's very simple to say, here's your tablet, don't bother me for 3 more hours, but at the end of the day, you still have to go and verify it. Anyway, we're at minute 20. I want to bring up our last story for the evening. Again, not necessarily security related, but IoT related. Logitech, I think this was a remote, but their hub, the thing that controlled the remote, their hub, they told people, your last day is March 1st or March 31st. Now this becomes an expensive paperweight. Right?
Yeah, so this made a lot of people angry, right? Logitech decided, hey, supporting this device, putting out software updates, doing warranty repairs. It's just getting too expensive to keep supporting this old device. So we're going to end of life it. Which, I mean, I feel so many different ways about this. On one hand, if I'm the consumer, right, that's terrible. It hurts, right? You bought this device for however many hundreds of dollars you spent on it, and now it's getting killed. That said, I mean, when did this come out? This is a pretty old device, right?
I mean, it's the Harmony Hub. I don't know, but I think it was still the model that they're discontinuing. I think I read was some people would have had it for a year.
For just okay. So new buyers would have it for just a year.
Yeah, the last person to buy it would have been like 9 months to a year.
Okay, yeah, that hurts. End of lifing it, with less than a year's notice, I think is really bad form on them. On the other hand, end of lifing anything at all should be commendable. Because you don't get a call from Huawei or from Samsung or from Apple saying, yeah, we're just gonna not support this anymore. Like at least with Apple, they'll say, hey, this phone's not going to get security updates in X number of months. You should probably get a different phone. Windows did that, or Microsoft did that with Windows XP. They did it with Vista. Actually giving a sunsetting date is a commendable action for tech companies. It's not like you bought this device and is it getting security updates? Is it not? Is it never going to see an update? Who knows? And no one's going to tell you because they don't want you to be mad. I do like that Logitech came out and they said, yeah, we're gonna stop doing everything with this. Now, that said, there's a big difference between end of lifing something and saying, hey, this is the end of support. Versus actually pushing an update and bricking the device. They're taking down the server basically. So it becomes, which is also really annoying because I don't know how much it costs to keep that server going, but open source it and say, we're not going to just get rid. What I can see Logitech doing is saying, we're taking down the server. Oh, you want it to open source it? No, this is our intellectual property. So you have to buy our intellectual property in order to keep this server going, which is a pretty bad move, but they do that. To give them the benefit of the doubt, right? They're probably sunsetting it for these devices, but they're probably taking that technology and building the server-side packages for the next Harmony Hub or whatever IoT tying device they have. So they probably don't want to give away the keys to the castle. And a lot of companies are really afraid of lawsuits. They're afraid of people running through the code looking for security vulnerabilities. They're irrational fears, right? But they are fears of people in legal departments.
Well, look, like I said, I don't begrudge them for canceling it, but I think, like we all said, the year is too little, and maybe they could have. Okay, the service is going to be up there, like you said, and support for the service is going to be up there for the next X number of years. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, a reasonable amount of time from when they stop selling it in order to get that last person a good experience. But again, we see this time and time again. You buy something, you buy some digital media from this new service, and 6 months later it goes out of business and you have to buy it again, or you basically lose it because they put DRM on it. They put some sort of copy protection that you can't do it unless you talk to their server, and then they want to end the server, and then you're stuck.
Yeah, this is kind of the cloud hanging over IoT, and IoT isn't popular enough yet that enough people have directly experienced this. But when the no name, from some manufacturer you've never heard of, light bulbs just stop working because they shut off their server and went out of business, you can't turn on the lights that day, or you can't do it from your phone at the very least if they're built properly. Or those cool cameras you bought, the security cameras, when you actually need to review them, oh look, they weren't recording anything to any server because that company went out of business a year ago. I think once people start getting bit more and more by companies going under or discontinuing products, they're going to temper their expectations and their purchasing habits regarding IoT.
That's what I want. I mean, I really do. I want to be able. The problem is you get tempted by lower and lower prices. And we see that at least with Android phones, but you see that now in IoT. The smart light bulbs, these no-name companies that are trying to get into Hue or to work with the Echo are going the race to the bottom. But who knows what kind of security vulnerabilities they have, because they are making it. It is a Wi-Fi object or Zigbee object in your house. And they may never update it again. Not that I want my light bulbs to be updated, but if there is a problem with it, I definitely want it to be checked out. And that's what you were saying at the end, some sort of, let's say, expiration date to say, if you buy this, this will last X number of months, X number of years, X number of whatever. And so people feel a little bit confident that if it stays and it works, they're going to lose the functionality in 3 or 4 years, but they can still use the rest of it.
Yeah, I like the idea of giving people a lifespan up front. The danger is, if you say, hey, you are guaranteed 3 years of being able to use your Wi-Fi blender. Why you would have a Wi-Fi blender? I don't know, but you have a Wi-Fi blender. And Blend Wi-Fi tech company decides to give you this guarantee of 3 years of life. But 6 months in, they can't get any Series B angel investment Silicon Valley funding, and they fold, right? So your 3-year guarantee is meaningless because there's no one in the company to back it up. I like the idea of promises, especially from big established companies. Like Logitech could have said, hey, this device will be supported until at least let's say this date here, and give a lifespan of that, and leave it open-ended, leave it as at least this date. So if they decide to continue it or push updates, they can absolutely do that. But for smaller companies, I don't really think a guarantee means too much.
Well, I see it as these race to the bottom IoT devices that are going to get no support. There's there's one person at some company just calling up a manufacturer and saying, put all your webcams together and I'll put these new stickers on it and rebrand it. They're not, like you said, they're not waiting to figure out how long they can operate. What they're trying to do is make as much money as they can quickly and then either get another bus or quit for a month, whatever it is. And it's causing problems. So like you said, I would like to see some sort of will work until type date, just in case. And for the manufacturing companies, why is it so hard to issue an update? Especially if you're testing it internally. You get an update, push it out. I don't know. I'm just now rambling on.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I love just to throw it out there, just to give them a little bit more love, but Raspberry Pis, right? You can get a big one for $35. You can get the Pi Zero, which is this tiny little thing for $5. And you can, if you really want to nerd out and build some, some security cameras that do Wi-Fi and upload to, your NAS at home, you can do that with a Raspberry Pi. They're really cheap and they're really cool, and you can build some awesome stuff with it. And the best part is, you're not reliant on some no-name company to build the services for you. You're not reliant on some Silicon Valley, bigwig granting this company money to continue functioning. You are relying on you. And for some people, that's kind of a tall order, right? They don't want to rely on themselves, or they don't have the skills necessary to build something like that. But for the people who do, and the people who don't mind being, the central point of support for their home security system, then it's absolutely a valid path.
I mean, I'm not there yet. I have a bunch of sensors on my door that goes to some sort of smart things call center where they can do things. Who knows who that is, what kind of security they have there, but they are offering more robust length of time and everything else. Because imagine the worst thing you get is some no-name light bulb that has a time to live of -1 month because you bought it the wrong time. And now the police can come at you at all times. And if you don't speak the language, and they can argue with you over speaking American, all this other horrible thing that's been going around, you don't want that. So I just really do wish to say this camera was out came out this year. There's probably going to be a new one this year or next year, but so be aware, because that's the other thing, not just expiration dates, but when the new model is coming out. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, that would be nice. I don't think, as much as we wish for that, and as much as nice as it would be, I don't think we will ever see that. Because as soon as you announce the new version, sales drop for the old one.
Exactly. So anyway, we're at this point, we're out of time. So hopefully you enjoyed it. We will see you not next week, but probably the week after. Anyway, bye everyone.
See you, everyone.
And stop.